Here's 10 videos of me talking about ClickUp. They got 100 views. Here's 10 videos of me making fun of the business world, and they got 100,000 views. What would you like me to continue to do? Then we got, David Sachs and the board coming in. Hey, how did you do that? Do more of that.
You said all B2B companies are going to have a full-time creator.
That's my statement. I believe it. 100%.
You're doing a lot of the exact opposite of best practices. What's the thinking behind it?
A lot of these team leads, a lot of these people, a lot of these execs, they're still regular people. They like to laugh. So they can bring some humor into the business world. I think that wins.
Tell me the process. Tell me your strategy.
The framework looks like this.
Wow, I almost want to cut it out of this podcast.
I don't know if I want everyone to know.
Hrefs Podcast.
Look who I have with me today at Hrefs Podcast, Cunningham, founding member of ClickUp. And you guys are killing it on social media, which is the main topic that I want to dig into. Basically, ClickUp is a $4 billion company. You've been since the very beginning, and right now you guys are doing 150 million impressions monthly with social media content. Did I get all the numbers correctly?
Yeah.
Awesome, amazing. So the first question, we'll dive right in.
Yeah.
150 million impressions monthly on social media. I would imagine that's like TikTok, Instagram,
LinkedIn.
What is the ROI?
Yeah, the ROI, look, I'm not going to give it an exact dollar. I'll tell you this. We get around 20,000 to 50,000 signups. And I can tell you that because I have custom landing pages in the bio. So I can see the traffic we drive there. I can see what deals have closed. One of our biggest deals that came in, Gary V, VaynerMedia, they found us through social media at the beginning, and they brought up our social. So that was one of our biggest deals from last year. Definitely pays for itself. And we have a lot of big deals like enterprise that'll come in and say, hey, they found us from that. As for exact, I don't have an exact number. I don't think I track it too much because we don't spend but so much on it. You might think that we spend a ton, but we actually have a pretty cost-effective play.
That is an interesting idea. So you don't spend that much. Therefore, it is not that important to kind of prove that this spend, it's not something you would cut if, for example, you're breaking even or something. You would still be doing this because it's effective enough. But again, to go into the actual mechanics of it, you said you track clicks on a link.
Yeah.
So how this happens is a person scrolling TikTok, they see your video, they're like, wow, it's an interesting company. They click on kind of the profile picture. They go to the kind of homepage of your TikTok ClickUp account. They click a link there to go to your website, and this is what you're tracking. Is it correct?
That's correct. And what I've done is I say, see exclusive content here. So what I've done is on that landing page, yes, it has videos you can't see on the TikTok or on the Instagram, but on there, it has the videos, but also has hey, by the way, we're also a project management software. We can save you time. Set a demo here. So we see how many demos we set on that page. And I'm sure there's people who find us, and don't go to the page and still find it from the software. But that is something I can prove and track.
So what's the percentage of people who click on? Did you say the number? How many clicks you get per month on those links in the bio?
Yeah.
Just average. I don't need the exact one. Is it like in tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands?
It's below hundreds of thousands. It's probably 40. I'd say 40 to 60,000, and so we get a lot of clicks to it. But it's just how much. But converting's decent. Not as great as we'd like, but it's still better.
What about self-attribution? Do you have, when people sign up for ClickUp, do you ask them, how did you heard about us?
Yeah, we've just started doing that recently, and that numbers went up a lot. And we also did a test on just who knows about ClickUp, right? We tracked it from 2 years ago to now, and that numbers went up a ton. Just if they've heard of ClickUp, if they've seen us.
Because how did you do this?
We did our own test, our own self-test.
How?
I think they sent it out, just sent out to people we have and then recent signups. So they checked people who've signed up recently, and then that number's increased. And then I know that they had someone on our team go out and do their own custom test, just sending it out, just I think reaching out to people. Hey, have you heard of ClickUp?
Wait, who they?
Mark Somerville.
It's an agency or something?
No, it's someone on our team. They tasked him with that. I don't know how he did it. I don't know behind, but
it feels like kind of industry survey or something? I know there are like companies and agencies.
Yeah, he probably went to a company maybe and just did a survey. I know we did it like years ago. And so I'm assuming he just went and...
Kind of awareness survey or something.
Exactly,
Like, so
awareness survey.
there's a particular demographic and you ask them if they heard about this company or that company, and then they create, okay. So this is, in terms of investment, so you said you don't invest that much to be bothering about like specific ROI numbers, while the link clicks and the self-attribution gives you some idea. So what kind of monthly investment are we talking about?
Happy to give it to you. And the reason why I say that is we've paid for a Super Bowl commercial, right? So I know what it's like to go after that.
We'll get into that later.
So we'll get there. We spend about, I would say anywhere from 15 to 20,000. And you know, that's with 2 full-time actors. And then it's just, we have someone to shoot on set. And you know, I'll give you the whole process. I'm sure we get to it. That's about my full investment. So we're not to us to get the same impressions that we got from a Super Bowl commercial essentially every single month. It feels solid.
Yeah, $20,000 for kind of a mature SaaS company is nothing, essentially.
It's not.
In that regard, I have a question. I thought I might take it out, but actually no. In one of your interviews, you mentioned that when you started this initiative of betting on social media, you didn't see much results in the first like 2-3 months before you had some kind of breakout success videos and the engine started going. So given that you were investing like 20-ish K and you were not seeing kind of for the first quarter any results, I wonder how long would you keep going until you would say, I give up?
It's a good question. We didn't invest 20K at the beginning. So the ClickUp way is your budget goes up when you test first. So I was spending about 4K at the beginning. I had just one actor, no camera person, just shooting all on the iPhone. And we shot that for the first, 2-3 months. I was acting in the videos, just as scrappy as I could be. I wouldn't say, we had some numbers go up, but no real success. And our COO is Gaurav is very number driven. So he's like, look, man, I'll give you time. Like I'll give you probably like 6 months, but I need to see something, right? And then I think the 3rd month, we had like 3 videos hit 10 million plus. And then his eyes came up and he's like, okay, this is great. And then from there, we really started hitting. And everything became more consistent. He gave me a little more budget and I brought him on full time. And then he was like, okay, Chris, how can you hit 100 million impressions?
Yeah.
And I was like, I probably need another actor. I think I maybe need another channel. And so that's when he gave me more budget and gave me more budget. And again, if I wanted, now he's giving me the goal of 300 million impressions. So I got to figure that out this year.
Well, Chris, I can already tell that you're kind of very charismatic. You're very good on camera. You are like a perfect for acting in these kinds of things. But the big elephant in the room with your whole social media strategy, as I see it, is the acting talent. So I want to better understand, how did you find Luke? Luke is your kind of main actor. You have Luke. You have Adam, who writes, produces, acts. You act, and I think there were like 2 more people. So where did you find Luke to start with, and how did you know that he would be a good fit for this kind of job?
I study creators. I study them all the time, and I try to find them early. I take a lot of pride in finding them early. The way I found Luke was he was working with AdWorld. He was doing their TikTok, and I was AdWorld. They're like
the conference.
Yeah, he was doing their TikTok, and I hit him up, and I was like, man, I've never seen someone understand TikTok in business like you. At the time, business humor wasn't really doing much. This is 3 years ago. And I just stayed in touch with him. I made friends. I hired him for a couple of ads here and there. But he's like, hey, I'm happy with AdWorld. I was like, if anything happens there, just let me know. And one day he reaches out and he says, hey, look, they're not going to move forward with me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have kids. And I was like, I'll hire you today. And so that's when I went to our CEO. I was like, give me budget just to get this guy in. And I promise if we work with him, we'll see some results. I really felt that confident in him. And that was my first bet. And then Adam I found just because he was just a regular actor. From there, we've been looking in LA. So I used to live in LA, and I'm connected to that scene, the acting scene, and there's not so much work right now, but there's a lot of talent. So I went and found him. And another thing you might not know is we have a whole nother show called Almost Quitting Time that's grown to over 100,000 followers as well. It's a ClickUp-based show. And I found these guys because they're in a group called the Groundlings. And the Groundlings are improv. They're the number 1 improv in LA. And so I picked a few people from their team, and I allowed them to create a show together.
I'm blown away by how much I'm learning from doing these podcast interviews, because what you just said, that LA has a ton of actors and they're desperate for work. Like retrospectively, now that I think about it, there are so many kind of movies about it. There are so many interviews how actors are desperate to get like even like a role in some commercial or something, and how they come to LA with their dreams and those dreams never come true. But I somehow, when I thought that, can we find an actor to like up our own social media game, I was thinking, oh my God, where do I find an actor? Like completely not connecting those two things together until you said it. And then it clicked to me that there's a huge demand for actors to get this work.
And they want all they want is a consistent paycheck, you know, because they're here waiting, trying to get this deal, trying to get that. You offer them a consistent paycheck, they'll work really well. And it's good for them. They get more, you know, eyeballs, and they get better. They practice their craft. I can help you find one.
Wow. I almost want to cut it out of this podcast.
I don't know if I want everyone to know.
Yeah,
it is too good a knowledge, but you know what?
So that other companies would know it. I love what you said. Again, in one of your interviews, which ties nicely into this conversation, you said all B2B companies are going to have a full-time creator.
That's my statement. I believe it. 100%.
Yeah, I think it is so true, because a few years ago, I remember there was a lot of talk about every tech company becoming a media company or having a media company kind of under their portfolio. And now with social media growing more and more and people spending more time on TikTok, people spending more time on Instagram, I feel your words are so spot on. It's crazy. And now that you connected those dots with me, that there are so many actors who are desperate for work. Wow. What about Adam? Because he's a writer, he's a producer, he writes jokes, right? Is that the same story? Like, how did you find him?
Adam is a secret weapon. I actually found him via Luke. So I was looking for our second actor, and I was going to hire someone from LA. And Adam was an actor in LA, but not like a main. He's usually like a background actor, and he did like voiceover. He wasn't kind of like he wasn't known like as being a big actor or anything like that. But he had done so many things. I think he was on tour with a magician. He just had so much experience in this game. And as soon as I interviewed him, I knew he is who I wanted, because one, he was hungry. I always look for someone who has like something to prove, right? And he didn't have anything going on. He really wanted like, you know, something full time. And I could tell by the way he interviewed, he's like, I will go above and beyond for this. I will write. I can do the voiceovers. And we needed that. You know, a lot of our videos sometimes have a funny voiceover. They need someone to get props. They need someone to think these things through. That was Adam. And another thing I didn't tell you is every now and again, I do take some budget to bring a different writer into our writer's room. Because sometimes, sure, I have ideas, Adam has ideas, Luke has ideas, but every now and again, our ideas get a little muddy, or they just don't hit. You know, it's not like every week is a hit for us. So I'll bring in a different writer, and that helps a lot too.
This goes nicely into my next question, because ClickUp is a project management software. So you need to relate to the audience of leaders, people like team leads, or even executives who need to manage teams, run projects. What do actors and writers, comedians know about project management software? Where are those jokes? How can they relate to this whole thing?
That's the best part. I think everyone thinks they need to find someone who does, and they didn't. I have to teach them, right? I have to help bring that together. That takes time. The first month or so, I think Luke didn't even know what our product was, right? It took me a while to even get him in the product and using the product. But that's for our first keys. We had to get them in the product. Secondly, we had to have them come hang out at the office. They need to see what it's like. They're actors. They haven't been in like a real working environment. So for them to get the jokes, they need to be there and understand that. So that's something they're still getting better at. And that's why I wanted to hire them full time, because now they're there, they're thinking about this every single day. But at the end of the day, a lot of these team leads, a lot of these people, a lot of these execs, they're still regular people. They like to laugh. So if they can bring some humor into the business world, I think that wins. Now, that doesn't mean all my content is just funny content, right? I still create like thought leadership content and things like that on LinkedIn and on YouTube.
But that's not millions of views.
It doesn't hit. At least I haven't hit millions of views with that yet. I've had some do pretty well, but I can reach, I've had one video hit 100 million views, you know, like that's big.
Thought leadership, not entertainment.
Entertainment video hit 100 million. The biggest I've had on thought leadership, you know, maybe 100,000 views or something on.
That's pretty awesome.
But that's across every platform. So that's like 20,000 on, you know, YouTube Shorts, 20,000 on Instagram.
Still, for a niche kind of tech entrepreneurship, project management kind of thought leadership, it's still impressive numbers.
It's good. It's good. But now that's my challenge this year, and why I'm excited to talk to you and get to know you is I do want to figure out a better way to have consistent product content that does better. And that's, I think I got so excited with this, and everyone gives me goals and numbers, but I need to, like, what's best for the company is for me to also have a machine for that as well. So that's something I've been studying.
Yeah, we can talk after the interview about those things. So to wrap up the kind of team, if I were to hire an actor and writer / producer duo, what kind of total salary range are we looking at? Yeah,
you're looking at, for anyone that's newer, and you could probably get someone around the 60 to 80,000 a year range if it's someone kind of newer and not as much experience. If you get someone who's really good and has a lot of people hitting them up, you're probably going to pay them a little over 100, anywhere from $100 to $130,000 for like an actor who probably can go command, $7K a video or something like that.
Okay. And when you're bringing outside help to help you kind of brainstorm ideas and write jokes, what is the typical engagement?
That is not that expensive. So I've been able to find writers at a pretty low cost, if I'm being honest. Maybe like $100, $150 to come join the writer's room for an hour. And
they're comedians.
Yeah, they're comedians. They come with 3 or 4 ideas. They bring them in, and I don't take too much of their time. Ask them for 30 minutes. Come in and pitch your ideas for 30 minutes, and you're out, and I'll pay them maybe $100, something like that, and they're stoked to do it. And then sometimes I'll fly them out. Sometimes we bring in other actors and things like that. And there's the good news is that we're in California, we're near LA, so I can use these sites to book actors if we need background actors for the day.
Awesome. I will ask you for a few contacts because I have a few ideas where I need help writing jokes.
Yeah.
So that would be, especially if it's not that expensive. I like the framework where where the cost of kind of a marketing campaign is basically negligible. So you can just announce it as sunk cost. Okay, it didn't work, sunk cost, let's move on. And you will not get, your CEO looking at you with an angry eyes.
Now, the beauty is, the funny thing about our COO is he would rather give me more budget though and go after a 300 million goal. So that's what he has me thinking next. I'll give you more budget, which I know brings more pressure to me, but he always wants us thinking that way. Same as a sales reps, right? A sales rep's quota goes up. So just because I hit 150 million does not mean I'm supposed to be okay with it. We can keep that budget and stay at 150 million, but he'd rather me start thinking, how do I double it? And so that's what I'm doing now.
Okay, now that we established what kind of team, kind of minimum viable team you need to get this social media content creation thing going, tell me the process. Tell me your strategy, wherever you want to start, and then we'll dig deeper from there.
The framework looks like this, and you need to have some type of similar framework. Mondays, you pick your day, do whatever day you want, but this is how we do it. Mondays, we pitch. So I've been thinking of ideas. I come with 3 ideas. The actors come with 3 ideas, and I'll bring a different writer in, right? So we have about 20 ideas we're going through. At the end of it, we vote. And whatever is the top 8 to 10, and it's no ego. We all vote blindly. And then whatever has the most ones, we choose. And so that Tuesday, we come in and we refine them. We make them look better. We figure out what props we need. We think it all through. And then that Thursday, we shoot. So Thursday is just our shoot day. That's how it works. They go to the office. We shoot from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we have someone there to help. We have props. We'll have, if we need some background actors, sometimes ClickUp employees will jump in and act. But that is the process. And on Fridays, we're analyzing the data. If you really want to win, you have to be obsessed with the data. You need to look, why did this video flop? And I'll tell you another thing. I'll go ahead and give you the secret. Oh, man, I'll say it on here. You need to be testing in a big way. And people are not using trial reels. They're crazy because
what?
Instagram trial reels. Have you heard about this?
Trial reels?
So check this out. Instagram trial reels. Let's say I make one video. Let's say you and I do a video for this podcast.
Yeah.
You want to test 3 different hooks. Maybe it's one of me messing up. Maybe it's another one of you asking me about the actors. You test those 3 different hooks. You put them up in trial reels because 1, it doesn't post to your feed. 2, you get the data immediately. You can find out if one's performing better than the other. And then what you do is you just remove the other 2 or 3 or 4, whatever you want to put up, and then you put the best one. And why that's so valuable is, I'll give you an example. One of our videos hit 30 million just like a couple weeks ago. We did the trial reels first. One hit 1 million on the trial reels. The other one hit like 13K and like 6K. So the difference in 13K to 1 million and then put out to the full feed went up to like 30 million. So imagine if I just posted the one that only had 13,000, probably would have gotten 60,000 views total. So the difference it's just like regular marketing. But if you take that time and you test your videos, you test the hook, you change something at the beginning, you change the headline. These things make a lot of difference. And just like an A/B test of a landing page.
Who on your team is doing this?
We have a girl named Stormy who runs that, and Eka.
So you need basically to one up your social media game. You need a person who is doing kind of almost performance marketing.
It's our social media manager.
This is an ad. Those like trial. How do you spell it?
Trial. So TRAIL.
Trial. Yeah.
Trial reels.
Like
it's not
free
an ad.
trial.
To me, it's a secret. I don't know how more people are using it. It's literally just something. It's a new feature on Instagram. I think it's their way of competing with TikTok, because it used to be that we would just post on TikTok. And everyone's like, why do you post on TikTok? Because we get no punishment if we post more videos. So I could test 3 or 4 hooks. It didn't matter. It gets served to a new audience every single time.
Wow.
So you can still do it on TikTok as well if you like, but trial reels, you just put them up, and then if you don't like it, you pull it. And if one does really well, you just hit a button and you say, set it live. So it's not really, you're not really testing an audience or anything. They don't need to know ads. All they need to do is take, like I create the different versions. I'm like, okay, put these out. They test it, whichever one does the best, set it live. It's not complicated, but it has very big results.
I'm enjoying my own podcast more and more.
I want you to do some trial reels, and next one, let me know how it goes.
This is amazing. What I wanted to ask you is, so you have these Monday brainstorming sessions. I wonder if you have any app on your phone or something where you could just scroll through and tell me some of your latest ideas that you were discussing.
I can tell you without scrolling through. I have it on ClickUp, but ClickUp is in state. Like we use ClickUp in our staging environment, so I would not be able to pull up the. I have to use the non-staging because some of the people are in there and not. We can't let them in our staging. That makes sense. But I can tell you some ideas, like some ideas that are coming up.
Yeah. So some ideas that you recently brainstormed. I wonder like how they look like in the raw shape.
I'll give you one. So I saw this tweet, and a lot of times I find ideas, and maybe I'll turn it back into mine. But I saw this tweet that went really viral, and it was like, the FBI is outside of your office, and you have 30 seconds to hide a thumb drive that has a lot of information on it. What do you do? And I was reading the answers, and they were completely unhinged, right? They were just, it was wild. And I was like, that's an idea. So we just shot this. And so the idea was that all of a sudden, like the company, they're like, oh my God, the FBI is outside. We have 4 thumb drives. Everyone has to hide it, and everyone does something different. And I took some of the craziest ideas from that tweet, and I brought, so like one person melted the butter and then refroze it back up real quick and put it in the freezer. Another person, they had like a birthday cake they were celebrating, and he like slid it in the birthday cake, and it shows the FBI coming in and then looking after. But everything could be a content idea for me, right? Anything that happens in real life can be an idea. I'll give you another one. The show Severance came out. The show, very popular show. When something like that comes out, I jump on it. I jump on anything because one, you can call it trend jacking, you can call it whatever you want. But the way short form social media works is when you get served one video for Squid Games or any of those shows, you get served more.
Yeah.
So when any of those happen, I make our own version. Like if Severance was real in the office, and I show someone like forgetting their life and things like that, we'll play on it. Some other ideas we really like are corporate jargon. And it's really fun to make a play on all the dumb buzzwords we say every single day. So we act like if they were brought into real life. So we just shot one the other day, and the idea was like you walk in the meeting room and this guy's like circling someone's back. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm circling back. And then we show another girl, she's like picking the grapes off the ground like low, and it's like, let me guess, you're getting the low hanging fruit. So like little things like that are a play, but they're raw. We come with the raw idea, and that's on that Monday. And then if it's chosen, then on Tuesday we come back in, okay, who's the character? What props do we need? How do we make this really look good? Because you can have an idea, but props are a big thing too. Like having the right props, having the right visuals, having the right idea of what rooms you're shooting at. That's what's different. Like there's a difference in just shooting and then really thinking it through and thinking about the hook and what's going to catch attention.
On one hand, I'm tremendously jealous because I would love to participate in those kinds of things. Like in my student days, we in Ukraine, we had kind of comedy games. They're called kind of like comedy games where you have teams, and each team comes out and does like some sketches, some like stand-ups, and then jury would vote like who's funnier. So I did that back when I was like in uni, back when I was in school. I thoroughly enjoyed that. We even won to the state level. We were like in competitions. So I I like to think that I'm decent with humor, and I don't get enough of that with the marketing we're doing at Hrefs. No, I still try to weave in some fun.
You guys do sometimes. I saw you do the crazy, like you do some funny stuff.
Yeah, but not as much as I would want to. But so on the other hand, I'm being jealous because I love doing this kind of thing. I love having fun. I like giving great emotions, positive emotions to other people. On the other hand, the kind of the product marketing in me is asking the question, how do I feature my product in that? And in that regard, I want to ask you a question. Out of 100% of content that you create for social media, how do you balance kind of sketches that are completely unrelated to your product versus sketches where you actually feature ClickUp, like some new feature that you have released or something like that?
I would say, look, it changes with big releases and things like that. Like we have a couple big ones coming up I'm focused on. I'll give a multifaceted answer. The first thing is I would say if you want a rough number, maybe 10%. I'd say the other 80 or 90 we're creating just for top of funnel, but now that doesn't mean every week those same teams are shooting ads. So typically when I have a shoot day, we'll do 8 funny videos and I'll have 2 or 3 ads that are ready. And some of these ads are funny because our CTAs, everything, or our CPMs, everything has gone down because we're retargeting, right? So like I can catch someone top of funnel and then now I retarget with those same actors in a video that is a little more serious. Like it's still funny and I have the same premise, but then they'll bring in the product, right? So I might have one, I'll give you an example. One of the ads is like, the guy's like, hey, I tagged you on UpDog and you didn't get back to me on this time. They just start naming all these different companies, like just weird company names. And like, oh my God, I can't keep up. And someone's like, oh, well, we just have one app now, it's ClickUp, right? So I'll find a way to still make that funny content and bring it back. Same with on the website. Like we have them on the website. When we do some product releases, sometimes we have the funny actors in it. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have a whole nother, arm, a whole nother team that does work on product content all the time. And there's a little more to the point, talking head. So I'd say of my focus, it's only 10 to 15%. And we're very strategic about how we do it. But I still work with a lot of influencers and that's where I make a lot of product content.
Now that you're saying about retargeting people who watched your videos, first of all, makes a ton of sense, all the sense in the world. And I guess it brings your advertising costs way down because people are kind of warmed up and they are already familiar with your brand. But what also is happening in my head is that your marketing team is getting yet another person who has to run this kind of thing. Right, so there's someone else who is responsible for this strategy. Like, how do you advertise to people who saw your videos? Oh
yeah, we have a whole team. We have an ad team, the acquisition team.
How big is the entire marketing team of ClickUp?
Give me a second, I'll tell you. I would say it's around 80, 70 to 80. Yeah.
Okay. And you're responsible for how many people?
I'm responsible for just 10.
For 10.
Yeah, I'm more focused. My whole thing is just more on this side, the social marketing side. Now we kind of split it up. And ClickUp, we like to be in like little cohorts almost. Like like we don't have any one person managing too many. Well, of course, we have our COO. We're kind of unique. We don't have a CMO. We don't have a U. So our COO kind of runs both the sales and the marketing, which is quite wild. They all report up to him. We did just hire Kyle Coleman, if you're familiar.
Rings a bell.
He's from Copy AI, and he was at Clary prior. Big hire. We just announced it yesterday.
You just hired him.
We just hired him. So
Copy AI isn't doing very well, I would imagine.
I think they're probably not the happiest, but we're very excited to have him, man. I mean, that guy is a force of nature, and we think he'll bring a lot of things that you've done for Hrefs over to our side, I think. So he'll bring that mind in. But that's how we do. We have an acquisition team that's probably 3 or 4 people. All they're focused on is ads, and maybe it's 5 actually, and getting better. Then we have demand gen, we have that side. We have product marketing. We have my team. We have another team. It's kind of like a mini video and product team.
Okay.
SEO, et cetera.
SEO, you're using what?
Hrefs.
Thank you for the product plug. One other thing that I saw you saying, was it on LinkedIn or in one of your interviews, that with your social media content, you're doing a lot of the exact opposite of best practices. Specifically, no hook, no making people argue in comments, no brand placement, yada, yada, yada. Walk me through that. What's the thinking behind this?
I'll walk you through it. I really, at the beginning of my career, I was our first sales rep, first customer service rep, but I was always obsessed with marketing. I wanted to move back over into what I'm doing now. And I had fun growing that. But as I moved into it, everyone was telling me what to do. When I first got in the role, I was very excited and they gave me a lot of ground to play with, but everyone was telling me, okay, put the product in. And I was listening to everyone, but not getting any results. And I'm competitive and I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like, I should be good at this, right? Like I came from the space, I study the space, and everything told me like, I just need to stop listening to everyone else and do my own thing. And that's what I told our CEO, like, look, I understand you want the product and all the content. I hear you, but you also told me you want to hit 20 million impressions, right? Let me do it my way. Let me do it my way for a bit. And he did. And that's what I love about ClickUp. We did. So I was like, I don't care about, I know everyone talks about a hook and all that, but I don't think so. And I don't think we need to talk about ClickUp every single product. Like I just put myself in the mind of a user. And even though I'm a business person, even though I love to learn, when I pull out my phone, I typically just want to chill for a second. I just want to enjoy something. And if it does tie back into my business, that's great. So I started trying that content. And I still was testing what they wanted me to too. I was still testing so I could come back to them with data. I was like, okay, here's 10 videos of me talking about ClickUp. They got 100 views. Here's 10 videos of me making fun of the business world and they got 100,000 views. What would you like me to continue to do? I'll do whatever you want, but you have a goal you want me to hit and I want to hit it too. And that's when they opened up completely. And then, the board is all, as soon as we had our first really viral video, then we got, David Sachs and the board coming in. Hey, how did you do that? Do more of that. That's cool. That's getting a lot of people talking.
Putting yourself in the shoes of your user is so banal, but at the same time, so underrated.
So underrated.
This is how I've been running Ahrefs marketing since day one.
You have been with the YouTube channel and everything.
Yeah, I was looking at myself and like, how would I get my attention? How would I teach myself to use Ahrefs? How would I persuade myself that Ahrefs is the best? Everything that I was doing, I was looking at myself like, how would I sell this to Tim?
Because we're all just people. And I'll tell you the other strategy I do. Every week, I interview at least one project manager or one, it's not even, I'm actually going to turn into a podcast, but I've been just saving the videos. But I interview not just for the content, to learn. So I'm asking, what kind of content do you watch? What is something cool you learned last week? What's something like valuable that would help you? Because that's for the other content I'm making. For all the content that goes viral for speaking to project managers, that comes from me from talking to them. Just 15 minutes.
The downside of this is you cannot force yourself to do this.
Yeah.
You either have passion for this and you're genuinely interested. Like I was always genuinely interested how marketing works, how other people do marketing, what are their challenges, how I do solve my challenges. It is not something when you are the kind of employee that clocks out at 5 and that's it, and I'll go do something else, like work on my hobbies. The job is a job. I think you will never get this. You have to have it inherently. Would you agree?
You have to. There's no questions asked. Like I can tell about employees by, and again, we're not ever asking to stay extra and things like that, but you can see when someone really cares about marketing or ops. Like those people, they're genuinely curious, right? And that's why doing things like this, having a podcast or just interviewing, I think you won't figure out the next things. You'll kind of be late if you're not generally obsessed because you'll just see the same information everyone does. But if you dig deeper, that's how you get ahead.
Yeah, I can actually sense how passionate you are about the things that you're talking about, and it's not even like about the money or clout or anything. It's just it's inside you. It's burning in you.
It's a game,
Yeah, you want to be good at it. You want to achieve this. Yeah, this is so cool.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's fun.
Tell me about the ABCD framework, which doesn't seem to be an acronym at all.
Yeah, I probably should make I'm going to make a cooler name by the end of the year. But I'll tell you why I call it ABCD, because it kind of just flows well. I think it works like this. When you have, it's almost like a rating system, right? So what you need to do is you need to go make, let's say you want to start tomorrow. Let's say that you're like, hey, you know what? I want to play this maybe I want to put 10K a month in this game that Chris is playing. What you should do is you should go, whoever it is, get your one creator, have them make 60 videos. 60 videos, because until you have some data, you don't know anything. And try a few different things. Try maybe the learning style. Try making them laugh. Try a couple different things. And then in that, every single week, you can use ClickUp. You can use whatever you use. If you're in 1995, use Microsoft Word or whatever. But you take the data and you just say, okay, this video hit 20,000 views. That's green. I'm gonna highlight that green because it did really well. This one got 5. That's yellow. I think we could change the hook and make it better. This one got 100 views. That's red. Scratch the idea. It doesn't work. So you take all those videos and you test. And then once you test, you start rating them. So you're like, okay, this one did really well. The ones that got green, that's an A. And I'll give you an example. For us, the big viral one that really hit for us was the HR guys dancing.
Yeah.
You've seen it. So that's an A for us. But what do you think I did with that? What I did is I keep recreating it. So now every single week, I know that I'm gonna have at least one type of video like that because it almost always hits for me. But I can't just do it the same way because the audience gets exhausted. So what did I do? I had them do finance guys, right? All of a sudden they dressed a little different, a little nicer, and they did songs to finance. I had them do operations guy or IT guys. You know, I just keep, and then it's just a different audience. It's a brand new audience that I spoke to, brand new audience I get to, warm up to ClickUp, but it's the same flow. I use old songs, right? The reason why I use the songs is it's nostalgic. So now we're singing different songs that different people like, and we're dancing and just being a little ridiculous, but with a different, with a different niche each time. So I'm touching every single niche. So that's my A. My A is that one. Another A would be the corporate jargon. I know that works pretty well, so I can recreate it in different forms. So once you have something that hits really big, you don't just throw it away, you recreate it. Now a B is like, let's say I see, another video around that does pretty well. I'm like, oh, we could do that our style, like our way with our actors, not copying it, but maybe it's like it's a formula, new type of video it's out. We'll test that. A C is a trend. And an example of a trend would be like, oh, we're project managers. Of course we, that trend where it's like, oh, we're so-and-so, of course we so-and-so. That was like a hot trend. And so you just bring it into project management or into business and you put it your form. So C is a trend. And then D is my favorite. D is the one no one talks about. Experiment with the unconventional. And what that means is try something just so random that no one's like, just something off the top of the head. And so my formula is this. I usually try to do 2 or 3 A's a week because I know my numbers are going to be high. I do one or two B's, 1 C because you don't want to do too many trends, and 1 D. So every week I'm trying something really crazy, really new. I'm hopping on a trend like the action figure trend, that happened. That's that's easy views. You jump on the trend, it's easy views. So that just keeps my monthly number higher. And then I know my A's are going to hit pretty well. So that's how I mix in the ABCD formula every single week. And then you repeat. And your goal is that your B, C's, and D's may eventually become an A.
I will repeat for the listeners because I'm sure you lost everyone with A, B, C, D.
Oh, yes.
Because it doesn't stand for anything. So
I need to change it.
Again, I think this is taken from your LinkedIn post. A, content that's proven successful.
Yep.
Double down on winners. This is what you said when something worked. Keep repeating it just from different angles.
Always.
B, concepts that worked elsewhere, adapted our way. So you're looking basically what other companies are doing, what is... Actually, it's very similar to C, riding trends.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, C is like a trend. So I would say B is maybe just something cool that you saw that you think you could redo, like another video. C, a trend is like something by everyone's doing it, but you may as well do it too. Maybe like Severance coming out. I'd call that like a trend.
Okay, I get the difference. And D, complete experiments with 0 rules.
0 rules, just try something crazy.
Very cool framework. You use it in those Monday brainstorming sessions.
Exactly.
They look like what worked, what are the trends, like just let's go through those things.
And as we schedule what to shoot, we're like, okay, we'll shoot at least 2 or 3 A's because again, we know those numbers are going to stay high. We'll get a little risky. Hey, let's try this B, this other idea. D, this is something crazy. Like, I thought about this commercial and it made me think this. Let's run it. Let's try that. And so we kind of mix in the formula. That way, every single week we know we have a mix coming in. Because if we just did all A's, then the audience would get a little exhausted, and eventually they would run out, and you have nothing new.
That sounds incredibly actionable. Typically, I'm skeptical of those like different frameworks that people are sharing on social media because people create frameworks for the sake of creating frameworks. But this thing, it feels incredibly actionable.
I genuinely believe in it.
Let's see if I can squeeze more useful content out of you. Because we saw you launching your first ever content to clients masterclass, where you promised to reveal your pattern interrupt technique that makes busy executives stop scrolling and pay attention. Can you reveal it to us, your pattern interrupt technique?
Sure. Happy to do so. I think the big thing that I'm teaching is that at the beginning, you have to stop trying to sell. I think that's what everyone does. They're trying to sell, and it's really just 3 things. The technique is just looking at content differently. And you can take the funny route like me, but you can also just make people feel something, right? Like make them feel an emotion as they're scrolling through your content. So maybe tell a story, maybe taking a story like
examples. Can you give examples?
Yeah, sure.
That
I'll give
would
an
be
example.
easier.
So let's say that I want to teach, let's say that I do want someone to think about ClickUp.
Can you give examples from what you already did, like from your previous videos? Can you think of any?
Yeah. Let me think real fast. Some things I've done to kind of shake it up that's worked really well is I think a lot of times we've shown our CEO. I'll give you an example of our CEO. We barely can get him to create content, but when we do, it works really well. And we've done it so rather than like seeing him all like professional, dressed up, right away he's just like, hey, look, I'm on my way to work. Let me show you what's going on. Like just, it looks like it feels like you just woke up with him and you're on your way to work with him. So I think one, you got to have some kind of cool, something at the beginning. I do say on my regular content, I don't do hooks, but for something like this, I would do a hook. And that's just him. Maybe it's a cool transition in, and all of a sudden you're with him and he wears very bright clothing. And then he's talking, he's like, come on, like this is one we just shot. I just woke up. I'm obsessed with AI right now. Let me show you what I'm working on. And then bam. And then now he's right into the computer and you're with him on the computer. So a different way. And he's telling a story. So he's telling a story. I was on my way to, I was trying to complete 10 different tasks at once. I only had 10 minutes to get it done before. And that's when I realized we need an AI agent that would line up the task for me. And this is what I built. And this is how I built it. So rather than just saying, hey, this is ClickUp and we built AI agents, now it's like you're moving with him. You see the CEO. He's telling you a story about how he was late to a meeting. And next thing you know, the product is in your face, but it's not in your face. And you're still invested in the story.
So like you said, it feels like a hook.
That one I do hook. So for like,
where's pattern interrupt in this?
I think the pattern interrupt is the quick movement at the beginning, right? Like I'll give you another example. Like we've had Luke like the pattern interrupt. We've had him like opening a banana, but backwards. So it looks like
I saw it.
Yeah. So he has to like reclose the banana. Okay. As he's giving you the ad.
So basically in the first second, you kind of are trying to shock a person.
Yeah. We've even had someone open like the trunk and there's like someone in there, like it's a quick thing you have to see. I'll give you an example. Mr. Beast has been doing it a lot lately where like it looks like he had like something tied to his leg and the car drives off and you're waiting for it just to like pull him, that's like a quick pattern interrupt. That's some of the things I would say. I think too many people it's actually a really big mistake to try to do the pattern. Like if you just stop scrolling, people will scroll immediately.
That's stupid.
That's stupid, right? But if you have a subtle like thing in the side, it's almost like that that post has been going viral. It's like, don't look in the corner, don't look in the first comment. Something cool that shakes it up that you're not used to seeing. That's like the small things. The banana going in, something small like that if you can add into your content without being too cheesy, without being too much. You've seen the ones where people throw something and you're waiting for it to hit them. Those are little things like that.
At this point, I want to address our listeners, and I'm hoping that you guys appreciate how hard I'm trying to squeeze information out of my guests. But the thing is, now I need to ask you for likes and comments and engagements. Because here's the thing, for me to get people on this podcast and try to squeeze information out of them, the podcast has to perform well. It should bring numbers. So if you don't participate, I won't be able to get cool guests and I won't be able to get information that both of us, me and you guys, are benefiting from. So please leave a comment, what you loved from this interview, what you're liking so far, what you're going to implement or what you hate. Give me a like, send this video to your friend. Please help me get more views because you will benefit as well. I'll be getting better guests, not better guests, awesome. I will keep getting awesome guests and I will keep asking them awesome questions and getting cool information out of them.
Don't keep getting us in trouble for giving away too much.
Okay, one other thing that I noted from the bullet points of your Content to Clients masterclass is the simple psychology hack that converts casual followers into paying clients.
Yeah, so the simple hack there, the thing that really helps people is I think it's really giving away some type of and you've seen it now, but the hack that I've been doing a lot of is a lead magnet, but not in the form that you're thinking. So like and I'm lucky because I can do this with ClickUp. You could do it as well, actually. You guys can do it, and you already do really. But this one won't be very revolutionary for you. But what I found is that if I create content and at the end I'm like, hey, by the way, like let's say when I did an interview with Kyle Coleman and I get all the full points, I might make a video, and in that video I'll give like some high level stuff. If you want the full interview, comment X below, and that's where I have a lead magnet that comes in the form of a ClickUp doc that you have to sign up for, and then you get that information. So the big thing I found is build something that's of value, like real value. Don't just go on GPT and put something together. I mean, really take something that's knowledgeable from you, and that's how you'll get people into clients. Because then, if they just give you their email first for something in that exchange, they're much more likely to buy down the road. They're much more likely to do a demo, and that's kind of how we start. So with ClickUp, we'll have a funny video, and we'll maybe even do a giveaway, something like that. But I think them getting used to giving your email, I think that psychology hack, they give you something in return and you get something. Then later it's so much easier to get a demo. And I do this with LinkedIn Lives. I really, really think people sleep on LinkedIn Lives. That's a big thing. Let me tell you why. You can invite like 1,000 people per person that's speaking at the live. So let's say I want to have a LinkedIn Live speaking to all CMOs. I can easily use Clay and I can go target those people and have their emails after. So LinkedIn Live is a great way to get all of a sudden invite like 1,000 CMOs. Now let's say only 1% show up. That's fine. If I even just have 10 people who show up, but I know their job titles, LinkedIn Live still puts it in the feed afterwards, right? So even if they don't come to my live, they're still going to see the live in their feed multiple times, and they might still check it out. And I can have a comment at the top saying, by the way, if you don't have time to watch this, open this ClickUp doc, and you can still get all the info.
This is so good. This is so good. You see, guys, if you're seeing this means I didn't cut it from the interview. This means that we're all benefiting from this.
Yeah, no, that's one of my big ones. That's one of my, I do LinkedIn Lives once a week. And again, it doesn't mean I need to have hundreds of people every time. Sometimes I have 15, 20, but the right people are seeing on LinkedIn. And they're easy to do, man.
We definitely need to try that.
We can do one together.
We'll try that out for sure. I wanted to do panels, like webinar panels, to bring people in, talk to multiple people at the same time. But LinkedIn, the only problem is that I'm in Singapore and the majority of our customer base are in the US. So for me, the timing would be a big problem.
Is the time zone that different?
12 hours with Miami. So it's a bit crazy.
You would have to do like 9 and 9 or something.
We were talking about ClickUp as a company brand social media strategy, but there's also personal brand. And you are also working on a personal brand. I actually had Adam on the podcast recently, Adam Robinson. I'm not sure if you've seen him.
I've hired him to speak. Oh, no, sorry. Adam Robinson is R2B2. Never mind. Sorry, different guy.
RB2B.
Yeah, RB2B, yeah.
He's nailing it on LinkedIn with his kind of
He's got a unique strategy. Yeah. I watched that episode. Yeah, I learned a lot on that. He opened up to you pretty well.
Yeah, he shared a lot. So what I wanted to ask you is, what is your view? Because you have been very successful in growing the branded accounts of the company. He was very successful in growing his own personal brand.
Insanely. I think Adam Robinson has done an unreal job. I mean, most people know the company only because they know Adam, right? And that's a next level. With that being said, I definitely focus on that. We definitely have what we call in-house influencers, and we have a program for that. We have myself, we have Gaurav, who's our COO, doing pretty well. Zeb has been tough. Zeb's our founder, has the most following, but just doesn't love to post. But we're getting him back into it as we speak now. So I'm finally working with him so look out in the next 6 months. You'll see him posting. We just had to get a strategy that he liked, that he's comfortable with. But I think what people want now, they just want raw, real. What are you doing? Where are you struggling? They don't really care about you having these crazy edits, especially on LinkedIn and especially with founders. They just want to know, like, what's the problem you're facing this week? How'd you solve it? How'd you fail last week? How'd you adapt? That's all they want, man. And Adam gives them that. If Adam has a bad month, he speaks it out. And that's the only way you can win. You build in public, but most people build in public and they only share the wins.
Yeah.
Adam shares the losses, and that's why I think he wins so much, because people they want to feel real. They don't want to feel like they're being just told all the good moments, because they get enough of that on social media.
So if I would ask you about how is growing social media of the company different from growing a social media of the brand, what would be the, top 5 or just top differences that you would list?
Biggest difference, number one, is like, from a brand account, you can't speak as if you're an individual, right? Like, you can't do the same things. So everyone thinks a brand account, you grow the same, but you don't, because imagine me as a brand account just trying to speak. Like, you can have somewhat of a voice. You can do funny comments like Wendy's and et cetera, but you can't just like all of a sudden build out, hey, here's my 5 frameworks. Like, who are you? You're ClickUp. Like, is this the CM? Who's speaking from ClickUp? So you can't do that. So number one, the difference is, in a brand account, I think you have to kind of create more of this top of funnel. You have to create like an identity. That's what I've done. That's why I have these actors, because I think if I just keep showing our CMO and keep showing our CEO, that's cool. And that will work to a certain extent, but it will never go so viral, and it'll never be memorable, right? Unless you have a CEO like Adam. But look, you don't see Adam just posting himself on the R2. You don't see that. He's posting from his account.
Yes.
So the difference is, I think you on your personal, like and every company needs to do this. Every company needs to have someone like you out there talking. And I get it takes time, but you can still make the time with work, especially real employees who really are passionate. But find a person who's really passionate. Find 3, 4 of those people that they need to be with you a while, because if they leave, it does hurt if you put a lot of that brand equity and you pay, and then they go take that to another company. So find people who are going to be with you for a while and have them speak their own voice. Have them speak about their own wins. Have them dive into it. But the big differences are, you got to build in public. You got to set some kind of goal. You got to be chasing something from your personal. You can't really do that from a brand. Building in public from a brand makes no sense. I mean, the more I think of it, maybe I could start having some of our employees talk each week about what they're growing, but I don't know if I see that working. I think that just do it on their personal accounts. Maybe mention them from time to time. Like maybe ClickUp can tag in Zeb, tag in Gaurav, and things like that, and bring in conversation. I've seen like employee takeovers and things like that. But at the end of the day, you need to find a consistent. And I'm still working on that for ClickUp, because what works on a personal account doesn't work on a brand account. Like these carousels and stuff work really well in personal. It's still a struggle to make it work on a brand account. So for your brand account, your content's got to be almost double as good, but more. That's why I went the entertainment route.
So I see 3 types of content that you can post from corporate account. First type of content is basically your product updates and releases.
Sure, and you should always do that.
Like, hey, like we're ClickUp or Ahrefs, we released this new AI awesome thing, check it out. So this is why people follow the tools and brands that they're using to kind of be in the know what's happening. Second, kind of educational thing that can be loosely related to your product. For example, we do different studies about SEO, about search marketing, and recently we did a study that performed very, very well. We studied how much AI overviews in the search results influence clicks. Yeah, there's a like 34% drop in clicks whenever there's AI overview. But I posted this from my personal account, and it got like over 1,000 likes. It was crazy. I just posted a screenshot and they said, here's the number. That's it. People went crazy about it.
When you posted from the brand account, what happened?
Much lower numbers. Much lower. What was this third thing I was thinking about?
I'll let you finish that. But
No, you can.
I think it's because of point of view. Like a person can have a point of view, but a brand for some reason can't. You know what I mean? That's you giving that data. I think it's more valuable coming from the person and just a brand. I don't know why it is.
I remember the third one. The third one is entertainment and memes. This is what we were discussing with you. So SEMrush, our main competitor, they are very good at this. They are
simple memes. Yeah,
they're posting just like picture memes,
like the motivational, like you were here on Monday. I've seen their stuff.
Yeah, that works very well for them in terms of engagement. I'm not sure how well it works for kind of brand building and stuff. And that was something else I wanted to discuss with you. But so 3 things. You can post what's new in your product. You can post some news, like what's happening in the industry that is kind of related to what you do. And then you post entertainment, jokes, memes. Am I missing something? Do you see like, so the 3 pillars of the...
You could like have, like how much are you guys? You could have like a YouTube or something teaching people. I think brands can teach. They like that. But
that's one of the 3 things I just mentioned.
Okay,
you teach.
Yeah, teaching. Yeah, that's like the only, that's it. There's no other.
But then again, teaching seems to be much more effective if you do it from a personal account, from a person who teaches. Like I figured it out and I'm posting to you, rather than I figured it out, but Ahrefs is posting it.
Yeah, that's fair. It is tough. I mean, that again, that's why I haven't done so much. Like that is my challenge this year, is to figure out if I can hit that from the brand, or if maybe you're giving me a good point. Maybe I just need to have a character or someone who works at ClickUp who is giving this information out rather than ClickUp YouTube.
In that vein, let's talk about brand. So the question I want to ask you is, what is ClickUp brand? What is the story? What is the value? What is the promise you give this brand? Because again, when you're creating all this content, you have to kind of infuse it with some form of a message. Like, what are you trying to tell people about ClickUp brand? Because you're not just hiring people to tell jokes, because you could just joke about, I don't know, politics, about movies, about everything that is totally unrelated. So you still, well, I'm assuming, but you still want to give people some kind of message about your brand. You still want to create some kind of brand perception. So what is it?
Our main perception is we want to be cool. You know, we don't want to be, we want everyone to know that we're not just these stuck up, you know, tech. Like, we love tech. We're obsessed. We're obsessed with saving people time. That's our thing. But we don't take everything too seriously. We're not afraid to make jokes. We've been that way since the early days. Like, even we were, you know, just 4 or 6 employees. We were always trying to make light of everything, because we were working crazy hours, right, in the house, all living together, building the company. So I think that's one of the main things. Saving time is always a big one. No matter what, we always try to bring that back in there. Saving time, consolidating tools. That's been our mission since day one. We don't think people should have to keep switching. So that is like, it's not in every video I make, of course, but when we're making ads or we're turning it back around, that is the message that we try to put in.
So the main message is we're cool.
I think the main message, it's like when you go back to like Apple versus, was it Windows? Like, they were the cool brand. They were the one that you felt like you felt more associated with. They were the one you felt like you would hang out with, so you wanted to buy from them rather than the old stiff, the old way of doing things. I feel like we want to be like the new school, the young, the cool, tapped in.
Yeah, like, again, I'm not a native speaker, but the word that comes to mind for me is also kind of like accessible. So again, for younger people, they don't want to open an app and get presented with like tons of spreadsheets, data points, numbers, and just be inundated. They want to make sure that it's easy and fun to figure it out, and it's not like something their grandfathers were using.
There you go. Yeah.
This is the vibe that you're trying to.
That's the vibe we're trying to put out there. We want you to understand you can come in the tool. And other things, we want to feel cool to like the coders, the vibe coders, and all that out there coming, because again, you can build everything on ClickUp, right? You can build whatever you want there. But I think our goal is to know that it can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. You can keep ClickUp simple as a grocery list if you want. You can make it as complex as you need to as well.
So yeah, when I think of something as Asana, it gives me exactly the vibe of something, I don't know, my dad would be using at an organization that has been using it for 20 years and they just cannot move. Well, ClickUp gives me the vibe of like some hot new startup. They're looking for project management tool. Of course, it's ClickUp, because Asana is like for dinosaurs.
That's the goal. That's what we want. That is what we feel as well. They don't update. We ship fast, right? We want you to know that we ship fast, and we're updating all the time.
Dropping an album on Spotify. Tell me about that. And Now I understand your ability to create content, to work with actors, to work with musicians. So it's not so much how you created this album. You had all the like copywriters, all the comedians and such, musicians. But once you have this album and it promotes ClickUp in one way or another, distribution, something that you just mentioned to me, the importance of distribution. How did you, it was 1 million streams on Spotify. How did you get there?
So what I did was I found a lot of people who were doing well on TikTok, musicians that were putting their music on TikTok, and they were getting a lot of views. But I knew they probably weren't getting paid but so much from it, similar to the actors. And we also had a very talented artist that Zeb and I used to manage back then who works at ClickUp. So a very talented rap artist. So we would come to them and say, okay, look, let's work out a deal. We're going to pay you to create a song for us and to promote it on TikTok and Instagram.
Wait, you collaborated with TikTokers?
Collaborated.
So it wasn't just like an in-house team. You collaborated with influencers to create this album in the first place.
With our in-house team.
Oh, that's smart.
So what I did was I would go to them and say, look, I know, like, because they're trying to get brand deals, right? So I'm like, hey, how about this? I'll pay you X amount. I need 4 different posts, and I need you to create a song with my art. So most every song featured our artist. So you had ClickUp's artist and you had them. And then they had to say ClickUp in the song somewhere, but subtly, not like ClickUp, you know, like subtly in there, but in a way that made sense. So every song would say ClickUp. And we actually had some pretty big artists. I mean, we had one guy who's been on songs with Justin Bieber and had a big guy. His name is Clever. He's very big. So he was like the biggest artist, and he had the #1 song on there. We had another guy who's now, I found him when he only had like 10,000 followers, but he has a ton now. So my goal is to hit every genre. So I had a country music singer who was starting to grow on TikTok. I had like an R&B, like someone with a very big voice. I had another group out of Europe, and then I had this clever guy who's like on some pretty big songs. So I kind of mixed every genre in there, and then by having them post on TikTok and do it, that's how I got the streams up.
This is so smart.
And then I got a lot of people talk about it. So I had other like, I had a few influencers that I had speak about it. Like, yo, have you heard this album from ClickUp? They actually like the songs are actually legit, things like that. So I had them like give their real takes. So I'd like, look, rate this album. All I'm doing, like you can tell me it sucks if you want, but rate it. But a lot of people were pleasantly surprised because the music was good.
Wow. What was the total budget of this album campaign?
Yeah.
Like to create all the songs and distribution.
What ended up being the part that I think cost a little bit was the rights, because to put everything on Spotify, you have to own the rights to all the songs. So I want to say I paid the artist anywhere from $1,000 to like $3,000. I got per the song and the videos and everything. So I would say there's anywhere from around, they gave me a budget of 15 and I went a little over.
$15,000. Wow. And you got million streams on Spotify.
But also got songs that I can reuse in our ads and everything else. So I started using them in content. So that's what I looked at it as, was like, ICP. I thought it was a pretty good deal. And the fact we got that many, I did not think we were going to get that many streams. That was really cool to see that number hit.
Yeah.
Apple Music as well,
You mentioned that not only you got 1 million streams on Spotify with those songs, but you actually got yourself assets which you could again use with your actors in your other social media content or like for ads.
And I got interviews with Morning Brew, Adweek. Those alone were worth that. I got probably 4 different major publications who interviewed me after for that. That was the real value for us.
For this campaign.
For the album, because no one had done it. Dropping an album in B2B.
Where did the idea come from?
Myself and the CEO, we love music. We used to always, we were like, we have this guy working at ClickUp. He's so talented. Let's make an album, right? So I was like, okay, but let's do it in a way that's not crazy. I'm not going to spend a ton of money. And some of the artists, we had connections to. Some we had to go out and get, but it was actually quite surprising the cost I could get. Like the guy, Clever has millions of views, and he was at first like really trying to come at a high price. Look, I just can't do it, but I really want to work with you. He's like, what, this is a cool idea, and he came back and gave us a price that we could fit in budget.
This is so crazy.
It was a wild play, and I got a bunch of content off of it. I made so many videos. This is before we had the HR guys and all that, so we need to make a splash. I need to get someone talking about us.
Speaking of influencer marketing, on your LinkedIn it says you used to be the head of influencer marketing. Tell me about some lessons you've learned doing influencer marketing, or like what's the state of influencer marketing for SaaS companies today? What's the strategy for someone like Ahrefs?
I felt like I was ahead in it, and that because before I used to work in an agency and I did the whole water bottle influencer marketing. And so I knew it would work in B2B. I felt like I was a little early to it. This is 4 years ago or so. I felt like it could work, if done properly. The state of influencer marketing, I think it's in a way it's still extremely important, but you need to be very smart. Like, I don't think you can just go take a budget, go pick some influencers and hope it works. Like, I think you really have to work with them. So if I was running a campaign for you, what I would do is, here, I'll tell you how I do it for ClickUp. I go to like 20 influencers. I'm like, hey, look, I'm not going to pay you yet because I don't know if you like my product. Like, I'm not just going to have you go live if you use ClickUp or not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you one of my best trainers, the best trainer in the game. And I'm going to find use cases for you. They're going to meet with you for an hour, and they're going to find use cases, see if they can help your business or anything you do, and make sure to see if ClickUp would add any value to you at all. And if it does, then let's talk, and then let's see if we can do a campaign and something around that. So if same for you, I'd go and like, hey, is there a way that maybe we can help this influencer with, for you, it's going to be more business influencers, right? Like for me, I can get some lifestyle or things like that. But I think you tap into different things. Like there's some people I'll hire just because I know that the way they shoot a video is so well done that it will do well and I'll get them for ads. I think UGC is a whole nother big part of the game. Like you need people making content about your product, but it's got to be genuine. We are way too smart now to scroll and look at someone, Like I've seen some where people are like not even logged into the app trying to sell the page. I'm like, come on, you never use that software. You're not even logged in. You don't, or, have people try to work with us as an influencer and they don't even have a list set up. Like how am I going to use this? It's obvious you don't use the product.
Yeah.
So what I do is I allow them to use the product. I see if there's a cool story there. I see if there's something that works and then I do it. But I think some influencers are charging, starting to charge a lot. And I wonder if it's always worth it. So I'm pretty scrappy in my influence. I'm probably like not their favorite because I'm pretty scrappy in the spend. But I want to try to add value to them as well. But I'm not one out here going and spending insane, budgets like some people are and getting these major people. I like to get people that make sense, people that have, I want to go to the thought leaders, like the ones that I know people are watching to learn from. That's what I want. And I want to make sure I'm actually adding value with ClickUp. If not, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, if an influencer can actually use your product and not just give you a shout out, it's a whole different effect.
You see it. You can tell in the traffic and everything after. But again, it's got to be a good use case. It's got to be some value in there. Otherwise, people know. They smell it out and they hate it. They almost hate it worse.
Super Bowl ad. Walk me through that. How did you made a decision to go for a Super Bowl ad? Was it nationwide? Was it like local in some states? I know there are different kind of packages that you can take. And ROI, what did you get from it? How did you know it was worth it?
It wasn't my call. I think we had a different team in place at the time, but I did support on it and I did push and I definitely wanted to win. At that time we had a full video team, the team from BuzzFeed, very talented. They're still crushing it out right now. Those guys are doing great. Halogen Cinema, they're doing amazing. They shot it. And the decision was we had a lot of the team from BuzzFeed, the early BuzzFeed that were running marketing at that time. And I think the goal was just to go big, right? I think we had just done our out of home play. We had felt like people were really starting to know us. And frankly, I think it was just a cool thing to do. We did the major city one, so not the full. We did the one where we targeted the major cities. But I'm not afraid to share that we definitely didn't hit the ROI, right? Like we definitely didn't hit for what we spent. Like looking back, you don't see us repeating the Super Bowl bot. I'll put it that way. Definitely not. I mean, again, we had some people say they saw your Super Bowl commercial, but that is one that I will say that at home. I feel like if we were up and coming company, I would do that again. If I needed to get our known, like I would give that advice maybe to someone who was in a similar position to us in a major crowded space. I would not give the Super Bowl commercial because people are partying. They're having fun. Like sure, they watch it after, and you do. If you have a really good one, you do get in a lot of those review. We were on the news for like top 8 commercials. We did have a pretty high rated commercial because ours was fun and we did our style. So there's definitely some uplift, and we did it. We ran a social campaign behind it on Twitter, like hey. Craziest comment about this thing wins a trip or something like that. And that did okay. But I'd be full lying to you if I was like, oh man, we got a full ROI and I love the Super Bowl commercial. I definitely it's one of the things I would say, I don't say kick myself, but that's one we could have put to better spend.
Yeah. But you never know in advance. You cannot plan for that. You do best you can and then you just try to measure the outcome again best you can. And I guess with Super Bowl, you just look at your registrations or maybe again measure uplift of people even searching for you.
We had the uplift. That one we can look at. I can find the date. It was Super Bowl 2022. So we can go look at maybe it's 21 or 22. I'll go back and make sure. Time goes fast. But from there, we definitely saw lifts. Like we saw that and that was all cool, but not near for, it's a quite expensive spend. It's not cheap. It's almost the same as what you're guessing for that at home. So it's up there.
Final topic left for us to discuss is two famous letters, AI.
I never heard of that. What's that? Never thought that was coming on here.
How are you implementing AI in all of the stuff that we have discussed? Or I've
got some hot takes for you on this for sure.
Let's go.
Everyone now is saying AI or die and AI in your content. And obviously I love AI. I'm using it. I'm not one of those. But I really do not believe you can just none of my scripts that you see that are going viral came from AI. And that's not that I haven't tested. It's not that I'm not smart and know how to use Claude and build models. And it's not that I don't know how to do any of that. But I don't think so. I don't think if you're trying to make a funny educate. I don't think it's there yet. It's never spit out one to me. Now for ideas, for ideating, great. If you want to use AI, but for people who say you can use it end to end and it can create your whole strategy and every single week, it's just, maybe it can, but it's just going to be like everyone else. It's going to be generic. Like I can tell from leaders as well, like who write their own posts versus who has just set up a clause. I know what they're doing, right? And it's not even about the M dash or anything like that. It's that I just know, like I can see I can see the format. I can feel like Adam Robinson is writing that. He might have someone help him put it together.
He doesn't use. We did interview with him. He said he's
AI,
not
right?
using AI.
I knew he's not, because look at it. But he definitely has used some writers and stuff in the past.
In the past,
Tommy,
but not anymore. Not anymore.
He does it, and I like it better that way. I mean, no offense to writers. I think there's a lot of great writers out there, but I can tell. And I like Adam because it's raw. Like that's Adam. I can tell he's being, he's a little, he's got that whole feeling. He's built that personality. Now I know him, and I know what it'd be like to work with him. And that's what I want. Like, I feel like before I came on this pod, I know what it's like. I can tell you write your stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like no one else, GPT didn't tell you to make that idea of the crazy guy writing. That was your idea, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. That's stuff that makes me feel more connected to the human. And same with me, like some of the ideas I make, there's no way like AI is spitting out these crazy videos we're making, right? Some of them I'm even crossing the line probably. Like I like to really test and almost get in trouble with our PR team. So my hot take is that like AI is just not there, and I don't know if it will be. I think people really like these ideas that come out of our brain, and I'm sure AI can create some great videos, but I am not using AI in that way. I'm using it every now and again for ideas. I use AI for frameworks and things like that, of course, but like it's not like AI is going to give me the ABCD formula, right? It might help me track it, but that's it. So I don't think it's as big of a play in that part of marketing as everyone says.
That warms my heart.
I'm glad you hear it. I mean,
that warms my heart because I also think that human marketing is the best marketing. And as soon as you try to delegate it to a machine, you get very bland stuff. Like ChatGPT, like the output of an LLM is by definition kind of the average of what like an average answer to your question, because it's the statistical average kind of literally by definition.
100%. So why give the average on all your content, right? Like why? It just doesn't make sense. Everyone's saying, marketing's dead, SEO's dead. It's like, come on. Like, no, it's absolutely not. All these are big parts of our strategy. We're not using AI for it in that way. Like, sure, AI definitely, I'm sure, helps on our coding, and I'm sure it does, and things like that. But I have my ways I use AI, and I'm very, very familiar with Claude, and we have our own, we have our own stuff coming out in the future as well. So I'm super familiar, love it. I love the time it's saving, but I'm not one of these people thinking it's taking everyone's, jobs.
Yeah.
I'm not pulling all that.
Yeah, research, brainstorming, refining. Yes,
absolutely.
But for original ideas, for kind of breakout successes, you don't
Could
get
AI
it.
do what we just did right here and give away this stuff? Like AI would never pull that. It would just say the same for marketing. You need to, like, it would be irresponsible. And that's why I do not like when people overuse AI for content. And I hope they stop if they want to, or I hope they don't, because we'll just keep, the real stuff will get views and the AI stuff won't.
Chris, this has been so good.
I had a blast.
Thanks a lot. You shared so many good stuff.
Yeah,
like I said,
trouble.
I'm almost tempted to cut out those things, but we'll see. If people won't give me a lot of engagement on this one, I will just
have to cut, yeah.
I'll start cutting stuff and leaving this for myself and just releasing.
I gave away some real secrets that are getting us a lot of views. I really did.
Yeah. Thank you, mate.
Yeah, man, that was awesome.
Thanks a lot for sticking till the very end of this episode. I guess that means you enjoyed it, right? Because if you did, I have to ask you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, or maybe click the follow button if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify. Not sure if you know this, but subscriptions and follows are the strongest signal for these platforms to show this piece of content to more people. So I would really, really appreciate it if you would follow and subscribe. Thanks in advance, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.